should be streaming now. Yes, correct. I am streaming now just to see how loud or bad my audio is. 6 seconds ago, 10 seconds ago. There was a network error. Try again. Am I not streaming right now? There we go. I'm streaming right now. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm streaming right now. There we go. There we go. That is so quiet. There we go. I'm streaming right now. There we go. There we go. That is so quiet. Okay. Let's see if I can like. There we go. I'm streaming right now. There we go. There we go. That is so quiet. Okay. Let's see if I can. Advance. There we go. I'm streaming right now. There we go. There we go. That is so quiet. Okay. Let's see if I can. Advance. There we go. There we go. How loud is this? That is so quiet. Okay. Let's see if I can. Advance. There we go. There we go. How loud is this? That is so quiet. There we go. There we go. That's so much better. That's so much better. Let's see if I can advance. There we go. There we go. That's so much better. That's so much better. Hey! Let's see if I can advance. There we go. There we go. That's so much better. That's so much better. Okay, so it's louder now. OBS, I'm just gonna turn you up a bit more. Let's go fucking... Apparently I didn't know this existed, so let's turn you up to like 16. Let's see how loud 16 is. There we go. On mute. There we go. On mute. There we go. Perfection. Okay. So that's working. Hang on, I have to update the stream, that's right. I have to update the stream, that's right. Alright, shit. No, the stream won't be here. Now you won't be hearing anything that I am. Toolsy tools. Fuck. You know, yeah. No, wait, man, that's a... whatever. Update stream. Alright. Whatever, alright. Okay. There we go. Maxed out. Time to read the book I just fucking said I'm reading. Hang on, I'll be right back. Get this book wide open. Old bugs. I think I write that string towel, right? Let me just check real quick. Yep, that's correct. Now, there we go. Here's the audio. Looks like it sounds fine. Everything should be great. Now I can actually read the book. With my headphones on. Apparently I'm also going to be loud now. That's great. I haven't read this one yet. It's rather short though. So, you know, whatever. Old Bugs. An extemporaneous sob story by Marcus Ullius, proconsul of Gaul. Sheehan's Pool Room, which adorns one of the lesser alleys in the heart of Chicago's Stockyard district, is not a nice place. Its air, frightened with 1,000 odors such as Coleridge may have found a cologne. Who seldom knows the purifying rays of the sun, but fights for space with the acrid fumes of unnumbered cheap cigars and cigarettes which dangle from the coarse lips of unnumbered human animals that haunt the place day and night. But the popularity of Sheehan's remains unimpaired, and for this there is a reason obvious to anyone who will take the trouble to analyze the mixed stenches prevailing there. Over and above the fumes and sickening closeness rises an aroma once familiar throughout the land, but now happily banished to the back streets of life by the edict of the benevolent government. The aroma of strong, wicked whiskey, a precise kind of forbidden fruit, indeed, in this year of grace, 1950. Sheehan's is the acknowledged center to Chicago's subterranean traffic in liquor and narcotics, and as such has a certain dignity which extends even to the unkempt attaches of the place. But there was until lately one who lay outside the pale of the dignity, one who shared the squalor and filth but not the importance of Shihans. He was called Old Bugs, and was the most disreputable object in a disreputable environment. What he had once been, many tried to guess, for his language and mode of utterance, which intoxicated to a certain degree, were such as to excite wonderment. But what he was presented less difficulty, for Old Bugs, in superlative degree, embottomized the pathetic species known as the bum or the down-nouter, whence he had come. No one could tell. One night he had burst wildly into Shihans, foaming at the mouth and screaming for whiskey and hashish, and having been supplied in exchange for a promise to perform odd jobs, had hung about ever since, mopping floors, cleaning cuspidors and glasses, and attending to an hundred similar menial duties in exchange for the drink and drugs which were necessary to keep him alive and sane. He talked but little, and usually in the common jargon in the underworld, but occasionally, when inflamed by an unusually generous dose of crude whiskey, would burst forth into strings of incomprehensible polysyllables and snatches of sonorous prose and verse, which led certain habitues to conjecture that he had been better days. He had seen better days. He had seen better days. One steady pardon, a bank defaulter, under cover, came to converse with him quite regularly, and from the tone of his discourse ventured the opinion that he had been a writer or professor in his day, but the only changeable clue to Old Bugs's past was a faded photograph which he had constantly carried about with him, the photograph of a young woman of noble and beautiful features. This he would sometimes draw from his tattered pocket, carefully unwrap from its covering of tissue paper, and gaze upon for hours with an expression of infallible sadness and tenderness. It was not the portrait of one whom an underworld denizen would be likely to know, but of a lady of breeding and quality, garbed in the quaint attire of 30 years before. Old Bugs himself seemed also to belong to the past, for his nondescript clothing bore every hallmark of antiquity. He was a man of immense height, probably more than 6 feet, though his stooping shoulders sometimes belied this fact. His hair, a dirty white and falling out in patches, was never combed, and over his lean face grew a mangy stubble of coarse beard, which seemed always to remain at the bristling stage. Always to remain at the bristling stage. That's how it was said. Never shaven, yet never long enough to form a respectable set of whisketeers. Yet never long enough to form a respectable set of whiskers. His features had perhaps been noble at once. His features had perhaps been noble once, but were now seamed with the ghastly effects of terrible dissipation. At one time, probably in middle life, he had evidently been grossly fat, but now he was horribly lean, in purple flesh hanging in loose pouches under his bleary eyes and upon his cheeks. Altogether, Old Bugs was not pleasing to look upon. The disposition of Old Bugs was as odd as his aspect. Ordinarily, he was true to the derelict type, ready to do anything for a nickel or a dose of whiskey or hashish. But at rare intervals, he shewed the traits which earned him his name. Then he would try to straighten up, and a certain fire would creep into the sunken eyes. His demeanor would assume that an unwonted grace and even dignity, and the sodden creatures around him would sense something of superiority, something which made them less ready to give the usual kicks and cuffs to the poor butt in dirge. At these times he would shew a sardonic humor and make remarks which the old folk in Shihans deemed foolish and irrational, but the spells would soon pass, and once more old Bugs would resume his internal floor scrubbing and cuspidor cleaning. Cuspidor cleaning, I think. But for one thing, old Bugs would have been an ideal slave to the establishment, and that one thing, with his conduct when the old young men were introduced for their first drink, the old man would then rise from the floor in anger and excitement, muttering threats and warnings, and seeking to dissuade the novices from embarking upon their course of seeking life as it is. He would sputter and Next time we'll be reading The Transition of John Romero. Pages long. So shorter than the one we just read. Well, actually, the one we just read was 7 pages long, so I guess that's a lie. That's the 10th thing I've read in that book. And I am 57 pages, if you include the page I just, after the page I just finished, out of, 57 pages out of 1,094 pages. I've read 56 out of 1,094 pages, so I got a long ways left still. I guess I'll be reading 3 a week then. This would be a great way to read that book, especially if people start watching my streams, which may happen. Who knows, maybe someone watched this one. I don't know. Oh. I never knew that that happened. Odd. That's interesting.